Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam overview class. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. We are discussing from the 10th canto Srimad Bhagavatam. And last time we discussed how Krishna, after he sent Nand Maharaj back to Gokul, and he gave such love and affection to Vasudev and Devaki. And then Vasudev he arranged for the education of Krishna and Balram, and they were sent to Sandipani Muni's ashram where they learnt 64 arts in 64 days. Supreme Lord, he is the promulgator, the fountainhead of all the arts and all the knowledge. He is omniscient, all powerful, all knowing. But just to set right standards, that everybody should accept a spiritual master, whoever you may be. So to set right standards, example for others, Krishna he also accepted a spiritual master. And the same thing is with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also. He also accepted Ishwarapuri as his spiritual master. So the importance of accepting a spiritual master is shown very, you know, emphatically by this behavior of Krishna, and that's why all the scriptures, Nectar of Devotion, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, they emphasize on accepting spiritual master. You know, that is how the spiritual life begins. Adav Guru Padashraya, surrendering and taking instructions from spiritual master. And when one approaches spiritual master, it should be done in a humble, submissive way. First, we have to render service. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. So, a tattvadarshi can impart knowledge. How to approach a tattvadarshi? By serving him, by being submissive and humble. So, in this way, Krishna he approached Sandipani Muni and served him very nicely in a very humble way. He menially served him, and there's the story comes in the around the last end of the 10th canto, how the Sudama and Krishna, when they were studying in the Sandipani Muni school, Krishna was doing so many humble things. He was going to the forest and collecting wood. So all these things he was doing, and in just 64 days he learned all the art, all the skills and the knowledge. And then at the end, Krishna he offered obeisances, and he told Sandipani Muni that please ask for some Guru Dakshina. And in response to that, Sandipani Muni requested that can you please bring my son back because he died. He was killed by a demon when he went to take bath in Prabhasa, in ocean. He was killed. So Krishna very easily he went and he retrieved the son back and he came back and brought the son back to his teacher. So that's what we discussed. So now we'll begin the 46th chapter, one of the most heart churning chapters. One chapter was where Krishna was leaving Vrindavan. All the sentiments of the gopis and the gopas and the cowherd men, they were expressed there. And now this chapter is also very, very heart-wrenching chapter in which when Krishna he tells Uddhava that you please go and give my message to my parents and the gopis and the Brajavasis. What was their response? So that will be described in this chapter. So Shukdev Goswami he starts by describing that this Uddhava he was a very very powerful personality. Vrishninam pravaro mantri Krishnasya daita sakha Shishyo Brihaspate Shakshat Uddhavo Buddhisattama. So various qualities of Uddhava are described. Vrishninam Pravaro Mantri. He was the best of the counselors among all the Vrishni dynasty. He was the most powerful minister. Krishnasya Daita Sakha. Not only that, he was the most beloved friend of Krishna. And Shishyo Brihaspate Sakshat. And in knowledge, he was unparalleled. He was direct disciple of Brihaspati. Uddhavo Buddhi Sattama. Uddhava was supremely intelligent. So Uddhava has a very, very special position in Mathura and Dwarka. Everybody knew that Uddhava is a foremost devotee of Krishna. And he was related, he was relative of Krishna and he had same bodily features as Krishna. And it is described in the third canto that when Uddhava was a small child, he would play with the dolls of Krishna. He was so very attached to Krishna right from the birth. Pratar ashaya yachitaha. Even his mother would call him for breakfast. He would not come. He would be busy worshipping the deities of Krishna, playing with the dolls of Krishna. That's how he was very great devotee and very, very learned scholar also. At the same time, he knew how to deal with people, how to convey a particular message, how to counsel people. You know. So therefore, there are various reasons why Krishna sent Uddhava only to Vrindavan and not anybody else. And why he sent? There are so many reasons. First, he was such a great devotee of Krishna. He knew the heart of Krishna. So therefore, therefore Uddhava could counsel all the gopis and Nanda and Yashoda very nicely. And because Krishna had given a promise, Ayasye, I will return. And then he had promised Nand Maharaj also that I will finish my duties. I will reciprocate with my father and mother here, Vasudeva and Devaki. I'll give them some happiness and then I'll come back. And Lord, at the same time, he did not want to break his promise to the residents of Vrindavan. I will return. So therefore, he decided to send his most intimate representative, Uddhava. Somebody may ask why Krishna did not invite Nand and Yashoda and all the cowherd, people to stay on the borders of Mathura. They could visit Krishna in Mathura and they could stay on the border of Mathura. Why Krishna did not do that? Because Nand and Yashoda they had pure love without any tinge of awe and reverence of Krishna. They never accepted Krishna to be Supreme Lord, although they knew Krishna to be Supreme Lord. So therefore, if Nanda and Yashoda comes to Mathura and then Vasudeva and Devaki is there will be rasabhas, because the residents of Mathura, they had their own way of understanding Krishna, and Vrindavan Vasis, they had their own way. They did not like to see Krishna dressed as a king, wearing a helmet and you know, surrounded by such royal paraphernalia. They are used to see Krishna having a peacock feather on his head and dressed in a beautiful way in the forest flowers and the garland and decorated with forest minerals. That's how they are used to see Krishna. So they would not be happy to see Krishna in a royal opulence. So therefore, Krishna is Uddhava is described as Buddhi Sattama. Buddhi Sattama means he is the most intelligent and therefore he could expertly pacify the residents of Vrindavan. And one more reason, Krishna wanted to send Uddhava, because Uddhava was very, very intelligent. So Krishna wanted Uddhava to go and witness the extraordinary love of the Brajvasis. Vrishnis, they thought that okay, we know Krishna, we love Krishna, but they were not aware of the Braj Bhakti. They were not aware of the extent of love Brajvasis had for Krishna. So therefore, Krishna wanted Uddhava to go and witness that love and devotion so that he could come back and he could tell all the Mathuravasis. And actually, Uddhava is described as being a reflection of Krishna. He was exactly same in bodily feature. In fact, Uddhava would wear, all the remnants of Krishna, as it is described in the 11th canto. Uddhava is saying, Toyopabhukta Sagandha Vasa Lankara Charchitaihi. He says, Tava Mayam Jayemahi. By wearing the remnants, the nirmal of you, O my Lord, we will also cross this ocean of material existence. And one more reason why Krishna wanted to send Uddhava. Actually, Uddhava had learnt from Brihaspati, Shishyo Brihaspati Sakshat, but a teacher can only teach what he has. Brihaspati could not teach the highest mellows of prema bhakti. So Krishna wanted Uddhava also to learn that knowledge of prema. That's why he sent Uddhava. And one more reason why Krishna did not go back to Brindavan. He could have went back to Brindavan, right? The elders of Mathura, they desired that Krishna should stay and protect us because now Krishna had killed Kamsa and the father-in-law of Kamsa, Jarasandha, he was a very, very powerful personality. So if Krishna goes back to Vrindavan, so Jarasandha would have attacked Mathura and he would have destroyed Mathura, and that would have been a great disaster. So therefore, Krishna could not go back to Vrindavan. Somebody may say, Krishna could have expanded into two, right? One form could have gone to Vrindavan, other would have stayed in Mathura. So actually, Chakravarti Thakur writes, no, because uh, you know, Nanda Maharaj would understand. Oh, Krishna is there. That means Krishna is a supremely powerful personality. He is Supreme Lord. Oh, I think he is not my son. So his love, his prema would decrease. So therefore, Krishna did not want that also. Of course, it is said that Krishna never leaves Braja. Vrindavanam parityajya padam ekam nagachati. So all these reasons are described, by Chakravarti Thakur. So Krishna, he took the hands of Uddhava and very, very sweetly he addressed him. Tamaha Bhagavan Preshtam Bhaktam Ekantinam Kvachit Grihitva Panina Panim Prapannarto Hari Hari Haro Harihi. He took hand of Uddhava in his hand, and Uddhava is described as Bhaktam Ekantinam Kvachit. Uddhava was greatest of the devotee. The quality of the devotee is Ekanta Bhakti. He was not only a devotee, he was a pure devotee of the Lord. So Uddhava was not an ordinary personality. He was a pure devotee of the Lord. Ekantinam Kvachit. And Ekant Bhakta, who is a Ekant Bhakta? Chakravarti Thakur writes. Ekant Bhakta is one who is ready to give up his mother, father, and all the other attachments to please Krishna and to develop love for Krishna. So among all the devotees of Krishna, Uddhava was the dearmost devotee. He was Preshta. So therefore Krishna called Uddhava. Gacchodhava vrajam saumya pitrornao pritimavaha gopinam madviyogadhim mad sandeshair vimochaya. So he says, Uddhava, O gentle Uddhava, Gacha, please go to Braja. My mother, my father, they are in complete distress. Please give them pleasure. Please give my message to my dearmost gopis because they are suffering intensely out of separation. Please relieve their pain. Uddhava may say, how will a fool like me be able to do that? Gopis and all the Brajvasis, they are foremost of the devotees. Uddhava, out of his humility, he is thinking, oh, I am just a fool. How can I do this service? Krishna says, no, no, no. You are Uddhava. Uddhava means you are an ocean of qualities. And one more meaning of Uddhava is one who gives joy to others. So therefore, because you are perfectly gentle, you are Samya, you are ocean of good qualities, and you have the capability to give joy to others. Therefore, you can do this service. And you don't have to use your skills. Just by looking at you, just by having your darshan, they will become happy. Because Uddhava was having same similar features as Krishna. You know. So therefore, it is described, Krishna is telling, when you go to Brindavan and give this message, you will be able to free the gopis of their sorrow. And you don't show your cleverness. Just give my messages. So actually, it was not just one line message. It was a long message which Krishna gave to Brajvasis, especially gopis. So there are various things which are written in that message. One was about jnana. You know, so Krishna told Uddhava, you tell them the knowledge of philosophy of soul and the super soul, and that's how they'll become detached from the material world. And then you can tell them the instructions how they can attain me. And you know, you should not show any other cleverness. Just repeat whatever I am telling. Otherwise, what will happen? All this knowledge which you are which you will give to gopis, they will burn all that knowledge by their fire of love. That's what was going to happen. And then Krishna says, actually, how they will be freed from the sorrow? When they hear my confidential instructions behind hinted, which were hinted. So the obvious instructions which are written, they will not pacify gopis. I will give some hints in those instructions that will pacify gopis. Because who are these gopis? Tamanaska mata prana madarte tyakta daihika mameva daitam preshtam atmanam manasagata ye tyakta loka dharmascha madarte tan vibharmyaham. Who are these gopis? Don't misunderstand these gopis. Te man manaska mat prana. their minds, they are completely absorbed in me always. They are always devoted to me. Madarthe tyakta daihika. For me, they are ready to give up everything related to the body. Jaya, Suta, Agar, Pashu, Dravin, Bandhu, and Rajya. They are ready to give up everything. Their relatives, their family members, and their wealth and everything. Mam eva daitam preshta. And for them, I am their beloved, dear most beloved. I am alone their dear most beloved. Mam eva atmanam manasagata. And actually, I am indeed their very self. They don't have any differentiation between myself and themselves. They consider me as their own self. And for me, they are ready to give up all the material dharma. Patisutanvayat, bhratar bandhavad, ati vilangyate, tachyutagata. They give up all the relationships. And that's why such devotees, mad arthe tan bibharmi aham. So this is a very interesting thing. Tan bibharmi, I personally sustain such devotees. So therefore, Krishna in Bhagavad Gita also says, Tesham satatayuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam tadami buddhiyogam ananya chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesham nityabhyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. I personally maintain them. I provide what they lack, I protect what they have. Similar thing is Krishna is telling here also. So this consciousness of Krishna comes again and again in Bhagavatam. How he is so very eager to protect his devotees. You know, when Indra attacked, so Krishna that time also thought, Tasman masharanam goshtam mannatham mat parigraham gopaye swatma yogena soyam me vratahita. That time also Krishna was thinking, oh, these are my family members. They have given up everything for me. They have accepted me as their master. I have to protect them because I have taken a vow to protect my devotees. Lord Vishnu also tells Durvasa Muni, who came running out of fear of Sudarshan, he says, what have you given up for me? Just see my Amrish Maharaj, my devotee has given up so much. Ye daragar putrapta pranan vittam mimam param tyaktva mam sharanam yata katham stam tyaktumutsahe. My devotees, they give up everything. They give up their family, children, wives, property, everything. They give up and they come to me. How can I give them up? Katham tam taktum utsahe. How can I give up my devotees? They give up everything for me. And do you think I'll give them up? You know. So therefore, Krishna is telling, I personally maintain these gopis because they have given up everything. So Uddhava may say, Are since they have absorbed their minds in you, why you should worry about them? Krishna tells, actually internally they are absorbed, but externally they are very, very disturbed. You know, and it is intolerable for me. They are so very disturbed because for them I am their cherished object of love, and because of separation from me, they are in complete anxiety always. They are always thinking about me. They cannot do anything. You know. And he says that actually I am their dearmost object of love. The things which are related to us, wife, husband, children, property, they are dear to us because our body is dear. Our body is dear to us because the soul is dear. Our soul is dear to us because it is connected to super soul. And anybody who is connected to super soul, he does not mind giving up all the other things. So therefore, these gopis, they have given up everything for me. And when they remember me, they just faint. Actually, you know what is their plight? These gopis, they cannot even think about me for a long time. They think about me, and out of their ecstasy they faint. They think for about me for a short time and they faint for a long time. Again they get up. Again they start thinking, again they faint, and repeatedly they are thinking and fainting, and this is going on. And as a result, they get so very exhausted, they cannot do anything. How then Uddhava may say, then how are they maintaining their lives in this way? If they are in such situation, how are they maintaining their lives? Krishna says, because I have given them my promise, I shall return. Ayasye, that is the only thing which is sustaining their lives. Just because I have given my words, that's why they are not able to give up their lives. Because they are thinking, if Krishna returns back tomorrow and he will not see us, he will suffer much more, you know. So we cannot give pain to Krishna, so that's why they are continuing to live. That was the situation of gopis. So getting the message, taking instructions from Krishna, now Uddhava, he mounted a golden chariot and he departed for Nand Gokul. So when Uddhava he reached Vrindavan, he set off for Vrindavan in the morning time, but by the time he reached, it was sunset. And because in the sunset time, evening time, all the cows they return from the forest, so the dust which was raised by the hooves of the cows, it just filled the entire atmosphere, and the chariot of Uddhava could not be seen by many people. So it is described that although Gokul was merged in the grief, you know, because everybody was immersed in separation, immersed in the anxiety, immersed in the pain. But Krishna wanted Uddhava to see the natural, original glory of Vrindavan when Krishna was there. So, therefore, what Krishna did, he expanded his internal potency and he covered this, you know, sorrowful atmosphere of Vrindavan. And when Uddhava he came to Vrindavan, he could see the normal hustle bustle and the joy of Vrindavan. That's what was done by Yogamaya. So when Uddhava reached Vrindavan, he saw the cows and all the other animals. They were, you know, creating so much noise. Bulls were running behind the cows because they were fertile, and the cows were moving, and they were chasing their calves who were running away, and uh, all the Brajavasis they were milking the cows, and the calves were running, and they were also drinking the milk. And in the background of Brindavan, the flute sound was reverberating. Everything was looking very, very auspicious. All the Brajavasis, they were singing the glories and the activities and the pastimes of Krishna and Balram. And Uddhava saw that the cowherd, the homes of the cowherd men, they were full of wonderful Vedic paraphernalia, you know, meant for worship of the Supreme Lord. Vrindavan was full of flowering trees and the fruit trees. It was a very, very pleasing atmosphere. So when Uddhava he saw such wonderful beauty of Vrindavan, he was so very happy. But then he reached the palace of Nanda Maharaj. And when Nanda Maharaj he saw Uddhava, he was joyful because Uddhava was having same bodily features as Krishna. Tamagatam samagamya Krishnasyanucharam priyam Nandah paritam pariswajya Vasudeva dhyarchat. As Uddhava arrived, Nanda Maharaj he got up and he embraced Uddhava because he was non-different, looking non-different than Lord Vasudeva. So when Uddhava entered the palace of Nanda Maharaj, actually Nanda Maharaj was also full of misery, full of anxiety, crying and weeping in separation from Krishna. But when he saw Uddhava has come, he came out of the house, inner palace, inner quarters, and he saw Uddhava. Just by looking at Uddhava, he got some energy to welcome him. Otherwise, he was completely devastated. He was not even able to get up and do his regular routine services. भोजितं परमान्नेन संविष्टं कशिपौषुखं गतश्रमं पर्यपृच्छत् पादसंवाहनादिभिः. So now, after Krishna had left Vrindavan, nobody in Vrindavan entered their kitchens. The kitchens of all the people of Braja, they were covered with dirt. You know, they were full of cobwebs. They were full of all the grass and the leaves, and creepers were growing because nobody was taking care of the kitchen. They were not eating. How they were surviving then? Actually, the neighboring villages people from neighboring villages, they would come and they would give some yogurt, butter, and milk, and that's how they were surviving. Nobody was even cooking in Vrindavan after Krishna left. So it is described here that when Uddhava came, Nanda Maharaj, he gave him nice place to sit, and he gave him paramanna. Paraman is the rice which is cooked in milk. So how is it possible? Actually, seeing the anxiety of Nanda Maharaj, because Nanda Maharaj was also in anxiety. How will I serve Uddhava? So there was one Brahmana. So he came and he cooked, some this rice in the milk only for one person, and that was served to Uddhava. So Uddhava honored that, and he was seated comfortably on the bed, and then he was relieved of all the anxiety. Somebody was massaging his feet, and then, you know, after that they started talking. So the people of Brindavan, they were somehow living because they were lamenting, oh, without Krishna, how can we live? And they were in complete anxiety. So, fearing that, if, because Nanda Maharaj now had to ask something to Uddhava and he wanted to ask about Krishna, but he was fearing that if he asked about Krishna, then his throat would choke up and he would start crying. So therefore, he did not ask about Krishna directly. He first asked about the welfare of the Vasudeva. He said, "O Uddhava, my most fortunate one, how is the son of Shurasena? Is he doing well? He suffered a lot in the prison of Kamsa, and now, he's freed from that prison. Is he faring well? How is his children? How are his relatives?" Still, he was not able to, control the feelings. So, in order to control himself more, he started praising the fortune of Nand Maharaj and of Vasudev. And he says, now Vasudev has become so very fortunate because Kamsa has been killed and Vasudev has regained his, position in Mathura. So, therefore, it is so very happy situation there. And then he says, now he's not able to control himself. With eyes full of tears, he asks about Krishna and Balram. Api smarati na Krishno mataram surida sakhin Gopan brajam chatmanatham gavo vrindavanam girim. Now, with such a heavy heart, you know, with tears in his eyes, he is asking, does Krishna remember us? Api smarati na Krishno? Krishna yaad karte hain humko? Api smarati na mataram, and then pointing towards Yashoda, who was sitting crying tears without speaking anything. She was so very overwhelmed with uh, separation and anxiety. She was not able to speak also anything. She could not even ask Uddhava, how are you? She was just crying tears. So Nanda is pointing towards Yashoda, Mataram, You know, does Krishna remember his mother? Does he remember his friends, his well-wishers? Gopan, Brajam, Chatmanatham. Does he remember cowherd man? Does he remember Vrindavan? Does he remember cows? Gavo Vrindavanam. Does he remember Vrindavan and the Govardhan? You know. So Nanda Maharaj is actually asking, will Krishna come here, Uddhava? Do you know the intentions of Krishna? What were the thoughts of Krishna when you were coming here? Uddhava tells, yes, yes, I know. Krishna will come here. He will come and he'll relieve all the suffering of all of you. Nanda Maharaj tells, let him take whatever we have. He should be happy. Everything is his only. We don't need anything in return. Uddhava says, why are you talking all this? You should know that, Krishna is about to come. And the Maharaj tells, but when will I be able to see Krishna? He says, will he ever come to Vrindavan? We are not telling that he should come and stay with us. Because Nanda Maharaj understood that now Krishna has become the prince in Mathura, and now he is not going to come back. He has lost all hope. He had lost all hope. Nanda Maharaj understood now that Krishna is not going to come. So he's asking, will Krishna come and see us even once? You know what will happen if he does not come? All the Brajvasis, some are actually about to die. They are just counting their days. Some are just about to die. They are in the process of dying. If Krishna does not come, they'll die for sure. And those who are living little longer, they will also not be able to tolerate this suffering. They will also leave their body. Uddhava may say, but you will not die for sure. You have to stay for a long time. Because you have to take care of Krishna. And Maharaj says, Are now we will not be saved from the serpent of death. Will be killed. Earlier we were saved by Krishna. Krishna saved us from forest fire. He saved us from so many demons, from Trinavarta, from Aghasur, Bakasur. He saved us from the torrential rains of Indra. He saved us from the Arishtasur and Kalia. But now who will save us from this demon of separation? We are burning in this fire of separation. Today, who will save us? You know, Uddhava may say, actually, by remembering the lotus face of Krishna, your pain will vanish. But Nanda Maharaj tells, actually, it is opposite. When we remember the face of Krishna, our anxiety, our pain increases because we remember his words, his beautiful smile, his glances, his wonderful pastimes he performed in Vrindavan. When we hear all these, when we remember all these things, we become more and more disturbed. Then, Dhava may say, if this is the case, then why are you staying in your house? You are thinking too much. You should go out and tend cows. You take care of your house, other duties. Why are you sitting in your home all day? You are thinking only about Krishna. Nanda Maharaj tells, actually, when we go out, wherever we go, either on the Brindavan forest or the hill or the river, wherever we go, we just remember the pastimes which Krishna performed at that place. That's how, we are completely overwhelmed. And then, just to, somehow come out of this consciousness, he tries to remember the power of Krishna because he was going so deep in the sweetness of Krishna. He wanted to come out of it. So he started thinking of the powerful activities and the pastimes which Krishna performed. And he said, I think Krishna and Balram, they are two powerful devtas. Actually, Gargacharya also had said that Krishna is Narayan, non different from Narayan. He has declared that in the beginning, and we have seen all that with our own eyes. We have seen now, and everybody has seen How Krishna killed the wrestlers Chanur, Mushtik, he killed Kamsa, and he killed that powerful elephant Kuvalaya Peed like a lion kills the animals. Krishna killed all of them. He broke the huge sacrificial bow, and that bow was not a small bow. It was, very huge bow. It was 90 feet. Sorry, it was 270 feet long. You know, such a powerful, strong bow, and Krishna very nonchalantly broke it in two. Krishna and Balram, they had killed so many demons: Pralambasur, Dhenukasur, Bakasur, Aghasur, Vatsasur. They are all these demons. They had defeated Devatas, and Krishna defeated and killed all of them. And in this way, Shukdev Goswami is telling, Iti samsmritya samsritya Nanda Krishna Anurakta Atyutkanto Bhavat Tushnim Prema Prasara Vihvalaha. In this way, intensely remembering Krishna again and again, Nanda Maharaj was overwhelmed. He could not speak anymore. He fell silent because his mind was completely attached to Krishna. And what was happening to Yashoda? Yashoda Varnamayani Putrasya Charitani cha Shanvantya Avasrakshit Sneha Snuta Payodhara. Yashoda, when she heard all these pastimes of Krishna, she could not speak a single word. She was just crying. She was closing her eyes, but still the tears were coming out of her eyes. It happens. Many people must have experienced when you have such intense emotions. Even if you close your eyes, the tears come out. Yeah. So Yashoda Mai was so very overwhelmed with the separation from Krishna. She was just closing her eyes, but still the tears were coming out like torrents. That was the position of Yashoda. You know, Yashoda was actually drowning in the ocean of unsteadiness. She was completely unsteady. She was not even able to understand what to do, how to welcome Uddhava. She was just sitting at that place. Yashoda and Uddhava, when he sees the condition of Nanda and Yashoda, he became so joyful. Somebody may say, "What is this happening?" Nanda and Yashoda, they are crying in separation, and Uddhava is becoming joyful. This is not good. But Uddhava understood the highest levels of love. He was aware of that. So therefore, when he saw the ecstasies and emotions of Nanda and Yashoda, he was so very astonished and happy to see the supreme attraction of Nanda and Yashoda for Krishna. Because he was observing very closely all the emotions of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda. And he understood that Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, the love which they had, it was much, much superior than the love of Vasudeva and Devaki. And he thought, now my life has become successful. I have witnessed such a unparalleled love. And therefore he was so very joyful. Although he spoke in joy, but actually he was also having some feelings of distress. But he was not showing that distress. Because seeing the anxiety and the pain of Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, Uddhava was also getting distressed, but he did not show that. He just expressed his joy. Yuyam shlagyatamam nunam dehinamiha manada narayane akil guru yatkrita matiridrishi. So now Uddhava is glorifying Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. Yuyam, both of you, shlagyatamam. You are the most fortunate of all the embodied beings. Dehinam iha manada, O respectful Nanda, you are most fortunate of all the living entities on the planet Earth. Why? Because you have developed such a loving attraction for Supreme Personality of Godhead. You know. And then he says, actually, Uddhava, he had come for a purpose, he had come for a service. So he had to do that service, he had to pacify Nanda and Yashoda. So he wants to do that service. He wants to bring Yashoda Mai and Nand Maharaj out of these pools of separation. Tears are falling from the both of their eyes. Somehow Uddhava wants to pacify them. So now Uddhava, he starts speaking about the supremacy of Krishna and Balram. He says, O Nanda, your sons, Krishna and Balram, they are the supreme personality of Godhead. They are the seed of the entire universe. They are the womb of the entire universe. They are the source of all creation. They are the super soul. They are the primeval lords. यस्मिन् जन प्राण वियोग काले क्षणं समावेश्य मनो विशुद्धं निरृत्य कर्माशयमाशु याति परां गतिं ब्रह्ममयवर्कवर्णः. Now, very philosophical statement now Uddhava is making. Yasmin janah prana viyog kale. Anyone who at the time of death, prana viyog kale, even if he remembers Krishna for a moment, at the time of death, just for a moment, he engages his mind in remembrance of Krishna, even though he is avishuddha. Now, this is a very, very hope giving statement. Uddhava is telling, even though a person is impure, if he remembers Krishna at the time of death, even for a moment, niraritya karma shayama shuyati, he burns up all the sinful reactions. Karma ashaya, the repository of the karmic reactions, get burned immediately. And then what happens? Param gatim brahmamayorka varnaha, and he attains the supreme spiritual abode of Krishna, which is as effulgent as sun. Tasmin bhavantav narayane karanamartyamurtau bhavam vidhattam nitaram mahatman kim va vasishtam yuvavostu krityam. Then Uddhava is glorifying Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. He says, O Supreme, O Nanda and Yashoda, Narayan, Krishna is the Supreme Lord Narayan. He is the source of everything. He is Akhilatma Hetu. He is the cause of all causes. And you too, Bhavam, you have rendered exceptional devotional service unto them. What other pious deeds are required for you to do? You have attained everything. Nanda Maharaj, when he hears this, he tells, Oh dear Uddhava, I have heard that you are very intelligent, but now I see that you are foolish. So Nanda Maharaj is telling that I have heard that you are intelligent, but now I am seeing that you are foolish because you are praising us. You are praising our fortune. Are who in this three world will be more unfortunate than us? We have lost our dear sons, and you are glorifying us. Who can be more unfortunate than us? And then Uddhava, he begins to deliver the message of Krishna. He says, okay, now I have to actually straightforwardly give the message. He says, O Nanda Maharaj, that infallible Lord Achyuta, who never fails in his promise, and he has given the promise, I will return, for sure he will return to you. After having killed after having killed Kamsa, for sure he will come to fulfill the promise which he has given to all of you. Nanda Maharaj may say, oh, so great is our misfortune. Although my son has given me a assurance, but there is so much delay. I don't know when Krishna will come. Uddhava tells, Ma khidyata mahabhagao drakshata krishnamantike antarridi sabhutanam aste jyotir vaidhasi. He says, Uddhava is telling, O Nanda Maharaj, please do not lament. Ma khidyatam, oh most fortunate one, please do not lament. For sure you will see Krishna very soon. Actually, who is Krishna, you know? Are Krishna is a super soul residing in everyone's heart. So this is a very, very, powerful statement which Uddhava is making. There is a whole background story which is going on. Uddhava is telling, Nand Maharaj, you should not lament, you will see Krishna very soon. Nand Maharaj will say, Nand Maharaj says, Are when we will see Krishna? Tomorrow? Day after? 10 after 10 days? When we will see Krishna, please tell us very clearly. If you give us some limit, we'll somehow sustain our lives. But if you are not giving any limit, then till how long we can sustain our life here? So please tell us very clearly. So Uddhava, he realizes these people are beyond me. They have attained the highest perfection which is conceivable in this entire creation. How can I tell them to become detached from their house and sons? Because Krishna is a supreme lord and everybody is supposed to be attached to supreme lord, and they have achieved the highest perfection of that. They are already attached to the supreme lord. Their love is much, much, much greater than Vasudev and Devaki. So you know what I have to do now? Uddhava thinks, I have to weaken their prema, because they are so very elevated in their prema, they are distressed. I have to weaken their prema by telling that super soul, Krishna is a super soul, he is neutral, and I will teach him meditation on the soul. So I'll have to bring it down, bring him from the level of prema to the level of Atma. So Uddhava has to do another reverse preaching, you know. And then he says, he's thinking all this. He's thinking then, but if after revealing all these things also, after telling Krishna as a supreme Brahman and Paramatma, still, if Nanda and Yashoda, their love does not decrease, then you know what I'll do? I will just go to Mathura and I'll glorify Nanda Maharaj. I'll glorify Yashoda in the assembly of Mathura. I will speak in front of Vasudev, Ugrasen, and all the assembled Mathuravasis about the glories of Vasudev, Nanda and Yashoda. What else can I do? And then he says, Nahi asyasi priya kashin na priyo vastyadaatmani nottamo nadhamo vapi samanasya samo vipiva. He says, oh Nanda Maharaj, Krishna is impartial. He is the Lord in everyone's heart. He is Paramatma. He is impartial. And, you know, he does not even desire any respect for himself. For him, there is no mother, no father, no wife, no children, no relatives. That's how he is clarifying. Are Krishna is Supreme Lord. He has no mother, father. Don't think that you are the only mother and father of Krishna. Actually, everybody is the children of Krishna. Na mata na pita tasya na bharya na sutadaya natmiyo na paraschapi na deho janma evacha. He has no material body. He has no birth. But even after speaking all this, Uddhava realizes, their prem is not decreasing only. So then Uddhava says, Krishna is Parabrahman. He is supreme Brahman from whom everything is coming. He has no work to do. He has appeared in this world just to annihilate the miscreants, to deliver the saintly devotees, speaking all Bhagavad Gita philosophy. Uddhava may say, Nanda Maharaj may say, Acha, Krishna is Supreme Lord, he is equal to everybody. If he is equal to everyone, why is giving happiness to somebody and pain to other? Uddhava may say, happiness and unhappiness is created by modes. And Lord is accepting all these modes as a plaything. He has nothing to do with all these things. Just like when a person he is whirling around, he perceives that the entire world is moving. Similarly, because we are attached to the modes, the mind is acting, but out of false ego, we think we are acting. Lord is not only your son, he is son of everybody. So now, he's trying his best, but still, Nanda and Yashoda, their love is not decreasing at all. You know, in this way, after giving whole message, trying his best, whole night, Nanda and Yashoda, they were discussing with Uddhava. Still, Uddhava was not successful in pacifying them. Their love did not decrease even a bit. And after hearing all these statements from Uddhava, Nanda Maharaj started thinking something. He says, Uddhava wants to enlighten us by saying that Krishna is Supreme Lord. Do we not know that he is Supreme? We know that he is Supreme Lord. We know that he is Narayan. Are Gargacharya said in the name giving ceremony that he is a Supreme Lord Narayan. We know. We know he is Brahman. We know he is Paramatma. We have seen how he killed all the demons who were so very powerful. So we know that he is a Supreme Lord, but then but comes. But we know that he is our son. कोई भी हो वो तो हमारा ही बेटा है. He is our son. And what is the proof? Are Gargacharya said that, oh Nanda, this son of yours is Narayan. So Narayan is secondary. This son is prominent. That is a primary thing. So therefore, he say, Nanda Maharaj is thinking, Are, whatever people may say, but we know when we serve Krishna, we feel satisfied. If he were not our son, then why our minds would be satisfied by serving him? Our minds are satisfied. That means he's our son only. And then he starts giving more arguments. Are, we have realized that personally, we have seen many times when we don't give Krishna betel nut, he becomes sad. If we don't lift him on our lap, if we don't kiss him, if we don't embrace him, his face becomes very sad. And Mother Yashoda, if Krishna is not her son, how could she bind him up? How could she tie him? You know. And Krishna, he liked to be scolded. He accepted all the scoldings and the commands and all the instructions we gave him. That means he accepted himself as our son. So he's thinking so many things. And in this way, he is completely absorbed. He's further he's thinking that actually, before after he killed Chanur and Mushtik and Kamsa, what must have happened? Everybody in Mathura must have told, hey, you are the Supreme Lord. And various people would have come and they would have started telling, oh, you are our father, you are our, son. And in this way, he became obliged. So he had to tell them that I am the Supreme Lord and I am in everyone's heart as Paramatma. And Uddhava heard all this and he has taken all that seriously. Nanda Maharaj tells you, Uddhava does not know the heart of my son. So after thinking all these things, ultimately, Nanda Maharaj, he forgot all that. He deliberated so much and then he completely forgot. And then he was again absorbed in thoughts of Krishna. So then in this way, Uddhava, he passed whole night discussing with Nanda and Yashoda. Next day morning, he got up and he performed his morning duties by that time, because in the evening, the ladies of Brindavan, they had not seen the chariot coming because it was covered with dust. So in the morning, next morning, the ladies, they got up, they performed their household duties, and as they were doing their morning duties, they were churning butter and they were looking so very beautiful. They were decorated very nicely. How could they get decorated? Because they were in complete anxiety. Krishna wanted to show Uddhava what was the original glory of Vrindavan. That's why, All the gopis, they dressed themselves nicely and they were singing the songs glorifying the various activities of Krishna and Balram, and along with the sounds of the glories of Krishna, the sound of the churning of the butter was going everywhere. As all these things are happening, the gopis, they see the chariot in front of the palace of Nanda Maharaj, and they ask, who does this belong to? Because they are seeing the golden chariot and they become angry. Perhaps Akrura has returned again. Very angry they became. It seems that Akrura has returned. Why he has returned? You know, is he going to use our flesh to offer in oblation to his master? He's not satisfied by taking Krishna away from us. So in this way, they are condemning Akrura. As they were talking among themselves, Uddhava appeared. He finished his morning duties and he appeared in front of them. So that is the end of this chapter. We'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki jai. Yeah, question is, did Krishna return to Vrindavan? Yes, he did return. After many, many years, he returned. After killing so many demons, after killing Dantavakra, he returned to Vrindavan. And he took all the Brajvasis directly to the spiritual world, Goloka. And of course, he came back as an expansion. He came back to Dwarka. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.